Hi guys, and welcome to my kitchen. Today I am going to be showing you a really phenomenal recipe for cinnamon raisin bread. This bread is really tasty, really just good and satisfying, and it's easy to make. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is activate some yeast here. So into 1.5 cups of warm water, I am putting 2¼ teaspoons of dry active yeast. This would be the same amount that you would get in a yeast packet if that's what you're using. And then I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of brown sugar in here as well. You could also reduce this down to 2. And then I'm just going to go ahead and mix that up and set that off to the side. Then to a bowl, I am just going to add 3 cups of regular all-purpose flour, and then 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Then I just gave this all a mix to combine everything, and after I had it mixed, I decided some nutmeg would be nice in there as well. So I did add in about 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Now that our yeast is activated, we're going to just pour that into the flour mixture and give that a nice stir to get everything combined. You shouldn't have any streaks of flour left. This is going to be somewhere between a shaggy dough and kind of a ball. It will kind of clump up around each other, but it's not going to be quite a shaggy dough or quite a ball. And then we're going to add in 1.5 cups of raisins. You can use regular raisins, golden raisins, cranberries, or a mixture. You just want to get them folded into that dough really nicely so that they're kind of incorporated throughout. And then we need to go ahead and proof this dough. I do use my Instant Pot liner for that. So I have this greased and I'm just gonna put the dough in there, and I'm going to put this in my Instant Pot on the yogurt setting for half an hour, and that should get it where it needs to be. Now while that is proofing, I am going to mix up some cinnamon sugar here to put in our dough. You can skip this step, but if you do want to do it, just take 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and about 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and just mix those together and set them off to the side. I also cracked an egg white into a little dish because that is what we're going to use to kind of adhere our cinnamon sugar to the dough. And here is our lovely dough. It is about doubled in size, which is what you're looking for. So if you're just proofing it on the counter or in a warm place in your house, that's what you want. You want it doubled in size. I'm just turning that out onto my counter, and I'm just gonna kind of press it just very gently. I don't want to deflate it too much, but just kind of tamp it out so that we have a nice surface to put our cinnamon sugar on. And then I'm just going to brush that with our egg white, and then we're going to start sprinkling on the cinnamon sugar. You want a pretty nice thick layer of the cinnamon sugar. The amounts that I gave you, you will probably end up using that whole bowl of cinnamon sugar for that. There's a little bit more left in my bowl because I made a double batch up here, but you'll use about all of that to put your cinnamon sugar layer on. And then we just want to kind of pull this all together over itself. This is being baked in a Dutch oven, so it's not really like a true cinnamon swirl bread where you would kind of like roll it up like a cinnamon roll. So we're just gonna kind of make sure that all of that cinnamon sugar is covered up by dough. And then I have just a square of parchment paper here. I like to flour it a little bit on the bottom just to make sure that my bread, once it's baked, comes off really nice and easily. So that's what you see me doing here. And then I'm going to just transfer my dough onto that parchment paper. And I'm gonna, after it's transferred over, I am going to go ahead and cover that just with like a clean dish towel. And we're gonna let it rise again while our oven is preheating. So you want to preheat your oven to 425 degrees. You want to put your 3-quart Dutch oven into the oven while it's preheating. Give it about half an hour, and then take that Dutch oven out, and then you can go ahead and pull off the dish towel from your dough. And this is what it looks like. And we're gonna just kind of airlift it with that parchment paper straight into the Dutch oven. As I mentioned, this is a 3-quart Dutch oven, which is the perfect size for the recipe that I'm giving you today. If you only have a 6-quart Dutch oven, you'll want to double the recipe. So put the lid back on your Dutch oven and put this whole kit and caboodle in the oven for 30 minutes. After your 30 minutes is up, we're going to take this out and just take the lid off of the Dutch oven. And then what we want to do from here is just put this back in the oven without the lid for another 15 minutes. That's going to just kind of finish everything off nicely, give us a really nice dark crust on our bread. As you can see here, it should sound really nice and hollow and just look beautiful. And just to show you what the interior looks like, I am going to go ahead and cut this in half for you. You will see that the cinnamon sugar is really more of a line than it is a swirl. A Dutch oven bread really isn't the right bread for a swirl, but as I said, Nathan likes it with the cinnamon sugar in there, so even though it's not quite a swirled bread, it's still really delicious. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video and have a phenomenal day.